Good morning, friends. We are learning about object-oriented programming techniques. During the first year course, you learned about C programming, which is based on functions. And a program may have any number of functions. Some are predefined functions, some are user-defined functions. And you see in the picture, there is no proper connection between main program to the functions. The directions are looking like very clumsy. Which variable is accessing by which function, and which variable is affected based on the results obtaining from the some particular function. Likewise, we are unable to identify what is happening inside of a program. For the case of procedural oriented programming, which may have features of function features. Function, we may call it as a subroutine or a subprogram. Anyhow, writing the programs sequentially without using a functions has some drawbacks. But writing a functions instead of writing with sequence of lines, if you are writing some functions, can improve the reusability of a program and have some features. But still, the functional oriented programming will not be gives you some what the requirements of a user. That means we are unable to control the variables, how they are updating the values. All these things we are unable to control. In order to overcome the drawbacks of procedural oriented programming, we have a concept called object oriented programming. Here in this picture, we can clearly see what is the difference between object oriented programming and procedural oriented programming. The best example for procedural oriented programming is C. That's what we learned in the last semester, C programming. Can anyone name the examples for object oriented programming?
Java.
Sorry? Examples for object oriented programming. Example languages for object oriented programming.
Java, sir.
Java, C++, and Python. Of course, we will learn the Java in the second year. Before that, in this semester, we are learning about Python. And C++ also will cover at some place, right? Now you see this box, we will call it as a class. Class can be a class can be a combination of methods and variables. Class is three compartment box. In the first compartment, we'll write what is a class name. In the second compartment, what is the data inside of a class. In the third compartment, what are the functions. Binding up of data and functions together and treat it as a single unit. The concept is called encapsulation. That means writing a class or developing a class is called encapsulation. As I told you, this is a class with three compartments. First one is class name, next is data, and next is functions. The important one is object only. Because of the name of object, the programming paradigm name itself will call it as object oriented programming. How can we define an object? How to define an object? Harshita or any other girl? Sai?
Instance of a class, and after a completing of class, we create a variable. That variable is an object.
How can we define object?
Instance of class.
Class.
No. I am asking to define an object. Do you are following? Mahipal?
Sir.
No one is responding. You are able to listen my voice?
Yes, sir. Doesn't audible, sir.
So object is a runtime entity. By using object, we can access the member functions of a class. Not only a member functions, data also. Data and member functions both can be accessible with the help of a class only. Sorry, object only. Suppose in this example, the name of a class is person. The objects are X, Y, and Z. We can create any number of objects to a particular class. Here we got our motivation from how our journey started from learning about a structure to the class. Structure is nothing but we can understood like a foundation for a class. Structure consists of data itself, but class consists of data and member functions both. Inside of a structure, structure have some name. Class also having some name. Inside of a structure, there is a data. That data can be accessed using structure variable. Inside of a class, there is a data and functions both, which can data and member functions both can be accessed using object. In the case of structure, it is a structure variable. In the case of class, it is a object. Of course, structure is a user-defined data type. Class also you can understood like a user-defined data type. In fact, we can understood like a class is an extension for a structure concept. And we can understood like a class is a prototype. There may exist of different types of objects. Like a car is a class. There are different types of objects. And moreover, I am coming back. Yeah. Here you'll see data. Here we are looking 3 classes. In a same program, we can define any number of classes. Suppose in the case of procedural oriented programming, we are designing certain system for an industrial application. Suppose you are defining an industrial application of maintaining the employees in an industry. You need to write different functions and all. But in the case of object-oriented programming, you can define three classes. The activities related to manager type of employees will be in one class. The activities related to some labor type of employees will be in one class. The activities related to some high-end officials will be in one class. There will be an inter-class communication. Suppose you are writing here 100 functions or 90 functions. You can split into different classes according to their behavior. Manager type of activities will fall into one class, and some labor type of functions will be stored in another class, and higher officials cadre will be placed in one more class, and there will be a possibility of some communication between them in an object-oriented program. Right? And moreover, how the procedural-oriented and object-oriented differs. Procedural-oriented programming, it is divided into some functions. Here we can observe like objects and data. Procedural-oriented is a top-down approach. Object-oriented is a bottom-up approach. And there is a question of access specifiers. That means, suppose a particular data is with you, like int x. There may be a question of private and public in the case of object-oriented programming. I think I have given you a good definition, like what is a private data, what is a public data. Private data is a data in which everyone can be accessed. Sorry, no one can access. It belongs to some particular set of people. Private data. Public data is a data anyone can use it. Like data can
Sir.
be, yes.
Still students are joining, sir. Can you accept that?
I did not got any notification.
Yes, sir.
So data can be moved freely, and here in object-oriented programming, we can communicate with objects. There is a communication between function to function in the case of procedural-oriented programming. In object-oriented programming, there is a communication in between objects. Already data is there in a procedural oriented programming. Adding a new data is somewhat tough, but adding a new data in object oriented programming is easy. Here data is controlled by access specifiers. Here global data, we use global data for sharing. There is no question of hiding, but here you can hide. Encapsulation is nothing but hiding the data. And overloading is not possible in procedural oriented programming. Here overloading is possible. I think I have shown you a clear definition what is a overloading. Like it is in a Python, it is very easy to, all the operators are already overloaded in Python. Default, they are overloaded, almost all the operators. since plus you can use for 5 plus 6, 11, and plus you can use for VRSCC IT plus IT. We can call it as VRSCC IT. Plus is overloaded to strings. Plus is normally what we know according to mathematics. What we know, the operator plus can be applied between numbers 5 and 6. But we overloaded it to apply for a strings. The type of features can be possible in the case of Python program. In C++ also there is a overloading concept. In Java also there is a overloading concept. But in order to make the operators or any in order to make the operators to be overloaded, we need to write some sort of code. But in the case of Python, we don't need to write any code to overload, which is default. These are the concepts I have discussed with you in the last classes. Now we'll move to some new concept. How the software technology is evolved from the machine language to the assembly language, and then to the procedural oriented, and on top we have a object oriented program. Yeah. Now the applications of object oriented program. Suppose anyone don't know a concept, you want to learn about some concept, what you will do generally? You want to know about one concept, any one concept. What you will do generally?
We'll search in internet, sir.
Suppose you want to learn about basics of Python. Where you can learn?
YouTube.
Online courses.
Yes, online itself. Where you will go?
Udemy.
YouTube.
Websites.
Before going to website, where you type it?
Google.
Google it.
Yeah. Google. That is that's what required for me. Suppose you are typing about Python to learn in Google. What you will get immediately? Suppose learn Python programming. You have typed
For
in
beginners.
Huh?
For beginners.
Okay, learn Python programming. You typed in a Google. What you will get immediately?
Another website redirected link.
Anyone reply, please. If you are typing in a Google Python programming, basics of Python programming, what you will get? Not only a Python programming, any topic you searched in internet or a Google search engine, what you will get?
Redirected link, sir.
Sorry?
Redirected link.
Yeah, you will get a web pages, link of the web pages. Yes or no? Hello?
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
do you hear everyone are there? I want to stop.
No, sir. It's audible, sir.
You will get different web pages based on what technique or what on what basis you will get a pages. Suppose I am having one blog, myself having one blog. I think I have given you the link also. that blog will not be listed in Google for the first time as a first web page after typing into some Python programming. It depends on a rank of a web page. It depends on a rank of a web page. After you typed into a Google, the Google search engine gives a rank to the top, rank to the all the web pages according to the phrases you typed. The top ranked websites will be listed to you. Basing on that, you can go and search the information inside of that. This process can be done using object-oriented programming techniques. That is one application of object-oriented programming. Right? What are the general operating systems we will use? Windows, Unix, Linux, and Apple. What are the other operating systems?
Android.
Yeah, all these operating systems can be developed using object-oriented techniques. Right? These are some applications, and most probably the second application belongs to C++. That means most of the operating systems will be developed using C++. Anyhow, C++ is a object-oriented programming, so that's why I mentioned. And the first one is the application of Java, search engine. Application of Java is a search engine. Now, have you heard about these words artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning? Have you heard about these words?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard about Alexa?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Amazon.
Developed by
Amazon. Amazon.
Yes, Amazon, which is a direct application of artificial intelligence. Which is a direct application of artificial intelligence. All of you are having the Gmail with you? Gmail account?
Yes, sir.
Yes. You are all having Gmail account.
Yes, sir.
Generally, you will have different mails coming to your inbox. Few of the mails can be automatically separated to a spam folder. You are going to separate them as a spam, or the Gmail itself separate them into a spam?
Gmail.
Itself. Sir. Itself.
Gmail itself, yes, Mauno. Gmail itself will separate into a spam. How the Gmail can understand this is a spam? Some particular mail is received by you. How the Gmail will automatically understand that the mail received by some particular person, Mauno, which is a spam? How the Gmail will identify? Using the concepts of machine learning. Right? And I think all of you are having the Facebook account.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Facebook. Automatic photo tagging. Automatic tagging of a person. You suppose we upload some photos, group photos into your Facebook. it will automatically identify the faces of the people inside of a picture and gives you a friend suggestions. You try to understand or practically you observe it. I think almost all you are having a Facebook account. So you practically see some cases there will be a automatic photo tag. The concept of automatic photo tag. And identification of a person from the photo you uploaded in a Facebook, which is a direct application of machine learning. Have you listened anywhere about a self-driving car?
Yes, sir. Tesla.
Tesla, which is and Google also developed a car, driverless car. These are the applications of deep learning. Sir, why you are saying about applications of artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning? These are all can be implemented using OOPS concepts itself, which are the direct applications of Python programming in particular nowadays. Direct applications of Python programming, all these are. We can implement the things inside using Python. We need to write some intelligent program. Suppose a spam detection program, which we call it as an intelligent program. How your brain works, likewise you need to write some program. After repeatedly doing of some particular task, your brain is so tuned like that you can able to identify which mail is given a particular mail, whether it is belongs to a spam mail or it is belongs to a non-spam mail. A person can able to identify. Likewise, we need to write an intelligent program using machine learning concept that so that which will be inculcated inside of a Gmail, so that the Gmail can identify the mails received to a particular person X, whether they belongs to spam or not spam. We need to write some intelligent programs. These intelligent programs can be able to write using Python. Since Python is also object-oriented programming, I have listed into an application of object-oriented. And the real-time systems, you are using ATMs to withdraw the money or deposit the money, which is application of real-time systems and which indirectly depends on object-oriented programming. And airlines reservation system and a heart pacemaker. Have you heard about the pacemaker?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Suppose the functioning of a heart is not so good. In some particular situations, in order to stabilize the functionality of the heart, there will be some small chip-like chip-like will be inserted inside of your body, called a pacemaker, which is application of real-time systems. Inside the functional programming, we can write with object-oriented program. And now I am able to explain you the things using a PowerPoint presentation. And we can have writing a curriculum white and different things. We will use a word processing. All these things are the applications of office automation systems. We'll call them as office automation systems. And email, the front-end design of the email, and all other desktop publishing. All these are the applications of office automation system, which are the indirect applications of object-oriented programming. And the very important thing is the particular application of C++. there is a JVM, Java Virtual Machine, which is heart of the functionality for a Java. Like you can imagine like a compiler. Compiler, what is a compiler? What is a compiler?
It is a program.
It is a hardware or software?
Software, sir. Software.
Sorry?
Software. Sir. Software.
That means somebody had to write some program, software in the sense nothing but a program, which is written in C++. See, JVM called Java Virtual Machine, which is like a compiler, not a compiler, like a compiler, which we will use in a Java. The JVM, the program for JVM is written in C++. Right? That means use it to create the features of some other programming, we will use C++. Suppose in the case of Python, we need an interpreter. Interpreter is nothing but a compiler only, but does the execution line by line. Compiler does the execution entire at a time, but interpreter does the execution line by line. So anyhow, but interpreter is software or hardware? Interpreter.
Software.
Software. That interpreter is a software, nothing but a program, which is written in C++. As IT students, you must know that there are the applications like front end and back end. Suppose you are entering the data into some information system, that is called a front end. You are storing the data somewhere, you are storing the data, that is called a back end, nothing but a database. There are some databases like object-oriented databases. Have you heard about CAD and CAM?
Yes, sir. They are softwares.
Which is used by a mechanical engineers or to design for the designing purposes. Design of some car or design of something machine and all, we will use CAD and CAM. Those are the applications of object-oriented programming. Nowadays, you are using every day different opening and accessing different websites. Web designing is also possible using object-oriented programming. I think there is a scope for design of web pages via Python, right? Yesterday,
Yes,
in the workshop, I think we have given some information related to that. Is any possibility to design a web pages using a Python?
Yes, sir. Django.
Django, yes, Django, which is a latest one. HTML, Django, HTML to Django. There are in between. There are so many platforms where you can design your own web page and you customize your own web pages, right? And there are some client server applications, mobile applications, particularly Android based applications will use object oriented programming. Gaming and graphical user interface design, GUI, will use object oriented programming. And in a scientific applications also, you will design some prototype or a physical model before it is releasing to the real world. We need to check the performance of some prototype we'll use the concept is called simulation and modeling. In that simulation and modeling case, also we'll use object-oriented programming. There are lots of applications related to object-oriented programming, which you must need to study. And these applications are restricted to different languages also. Like Java will do some certain applications. C++ have some certain applications, and Python have some certain applications. Not all the languages will be used for all the type of applications. There is a category of variety of uses. What are the advantages of object-oriented programming? Reusability, where you can write the code only one time and we can use it for a multiple times. No need to write as a fresh every time the same code. You can write one time, store it under the name of some function, and place it in any one class and inherit wherever you want. That is reusable. And I told you the encapsulation, the concept of encapsulation. Do you remember what are the 3 features of object-oriented programming? Can anyone name 3 features of object-oriented programming?
Sir, polymorphism,
Yes.
encapsulation,
Encapsulation,
inheritance.
inheritance. Good, very good. And inheritance I did not discuss to you. But encapsulation we have discussed. Polymorphism also we have discussed. Right? Inheritance, I will go with inheritance in the next classes. But because of the abstraction or encapsulation, data will be binded. That means data will be packed with some name called class and accessed via some objects. So there is a lots of security. There is a possibility of security. And there is a possibility to develop faster development with a lower cost. Cost in the sense, lower cost. And one more very important is platform independence. That means we can write the Python application in a Windows and in a Linux or in any other operating system also. Platform independence. C++ also same, platform independence. Of course, there are some disadvantages, very few disadvantages with object-oriented programming. That means sometimes we can write a programming with very larger size. That means lines of code, very larger lines of code, and we need some greater effort to be placed since you need to design the things related to classes. What are the different objects available and all. You need to put some effort in the design. There should be some planning. There should be some proper design must be there before proceeding. So these are very few disadvantages as compared with the advantages and the applications. There are lots of applications, but I have mentioned very few. But there are lots of applications.